last transmission of Flight 5.3, it was a routine flight, or so they thought. Flight 5.3 departed from Lisbon Airport at 10:15 p.m. on March 4, 1955, bound for Rio de Janeiro. The plane was a classic Lockheed Constellation, sturdy and trusted. The weather was calm, the crew were experienced, everything seemed normal. Then, at 11:37 p.m., the last radio transmission crackled through the cockpit radio, a garbled message that no one could make sense of. A few strange words, a faint scream, and then silence. The plane vanished from radar, no distress call, no warning. But decades later, in 1989, the impossible happened. Flight 513 was found on a remote airstrip in the Amazon jungle. The plane was intact, the engines cooled, but inside, skeletons sat in their seats, the pilot's hands still gripping the controls, the logbook. It ended mid-sentence. The cockpit clock had stopped at 11:37 p.m. What happened to Flight 513? Where had it been for 34 years? Why were its passengers gone? Flight 513 was no ordinary flight. It carried 65 passengers, including a handful of scientists and diplomats travelling to an important conference in Brazil. The aircraft was thoroughly checked before departure. As the plane took off, air traffic controllers noted no abnormalities, but the last transmission, filled with cryptic phrases and static, baffled everyone. Any strange lights, can't control, help. The message cut off abruptly. Search efforts launched immediately, but found no trace, no wreckage, no survivors. For decades, Flight 513 remained a ghost. A missing plane swallowed by the vast skies. Then in 1989, deep in the Amazon jungle, a logging crew stumbled upon an airstrip no one knew existed. There, half buried in vines and mud, sat the wreckage of Flight 513, but it was no wreckage. The plane looked undamaged, as if it had just landed. Inside, the remains of everyone on board, no sign of decay or disturbance, only skeletal remains slumped quietly. The pilot's logbook lay open, its last entry cut off mid-sentence. On the clock, frozen at 11:37 p.m. The Brazilian Air Force secured the site. Experts and investigators were flown in. How could the plane have survived so long without damage? Why had it appeared only in 1989, so many years after it disappeared? Autopsies showed strange findings. The bones were brittle, but the tissues showed no signs of decomposition. Biological material was almost perfectly preserved in some places, yet fossilized in others. The cockpit instruments had all stopped exactly at the time of the last transmission, 11:37 p.m. The investigators found a strange symbol etched into the pilot's logbook. A circular pattern with unknown markings. Reports from the logging crew mentioned strange sounds, whispers in the jungle, lights that flickered on the runway at night, and shadows moving in the trees. Then the team's communications started failing mysteriously. Radios cut out, equipment malfunctioned. Some team members reported visions, flashes of the flight, passengers staring blankly, the plane caught in a storm of lights. The news of the discovery caused a sensation worldwide. Theories flooded in. Had Flight 513 entered a time warp? Had the plane vanished into another dimension, only to return decades later? Some scientists proposed quantum anomalies or wormholes in the jungle. Others whispered of paranormal activity, spirits trapped in limbo, unable to move on. The families of passengers clamoured for answers, but received only silence. The Brazilian government classified much of the investigation. Rumours of a secret cover-up spread. Meanwhile, new pilots reported strange lights near old airstrip at night. Locals told tales of ghostly planes flying silently over the jungle. Experts debated wildly. Time distortion, alien abduction, a secret military experiment gone wrong. A physicist theorized the plane had passed through a temporal anomaly, frozen in time, then ejected decades later. Others believed the plane was caught in a parallel reality, a liminal space between life and death. The symbol in the logbook was linked to ancient indigenous markings representing the gate between worlds. Some theorists said the passengers were trapped in an endless loop, reliving the last moments of the flight over and over. Years later, a final investigation team was sent to the site. They found the plane gone, only the symbol remained, carved deep into the jungle floor. As night fell, strange lights appeared on the horizon. A distorted voice crackled over the radio. "Mayday, Mayday, Flight 513, trapped, come back, help." The cockpit clock from the recovered logbook appeared on the investigator's wristwatch, stock forever at 11:37 p.m. And in the distance, the sound of propellers cut through the darkness. Flight 513 was still out there.